Hi everyone, I'm Mark Leeming from the 1 Minute Preacher. I hope your day is going well. Now, some of you will know that what drives me absolutely bonkers is this whole notion that by rejecting Christianity, its morality, its ethics, that somehow now Western culture is progressing towards some utopian type future. Whereas I would argue we are in fact regressing back to a pagan era which predates Christianity. So what I want to do in this video is give a brief history of a horrible pagan practice that is starting to resurface. And quite frankly, I wouldn't be surprised if it becomes mainstream in my lifetime. What I'm referring to is infanticide, the killing of newborn babies. Now, you probably didn't hear this on the mainstream media, but recently a US governor not only stated his support for late-term abortion right up to the point of a woman going into labor, but went even further and said that if a newborn had a severe disability, then the parents should be given the option to not let that child live. Now, what we need to understand is that infanticide has been the norm, not the exception throughout much of history. It was widely practiced all over the globe: Asia, Europe, Africa, North and South America. We actually only live in a very rare moment in human history where infanticide is viewed as a great moral evil, and that's largely because of the rise and spread of Christianity throughout the world. Both the ancient Jews and the early Christians were essentially the only ones who opposed this widespread practice, with the church officially getting it banned throughout the Roman Empire in 374 AD. Now, unwanted newborns were sometimes drowned or strangled, but the most common method was by exposure. They were simply discarded in open fields and in city dumps and left to die from the elements or be eaten by wild animals. This abhorrent practice is mentioned in Ezekiel 16:5 of the Old Testament, where God compares Israel to an exposed newborn in a field whom God found and rescued. And in a chilling letter written sometime during the 1st century before Christ, a husband on a business trip to Alexandria, after writing about everyday things, then nonchalantly told his pregnant wife that if she gave birth before his return, quote, "If it is a boy, let it live. If it is a girl, expose it." End of quote. Now, that kind of callous attitude towards the killing of unwanted newborns was normal back then, and not just amongst the poor, but across all classes of society. Newborns could be killed because of their gender or a mental or physical disability. They could be killed for anything. In stark contrast, though, were the Christians, who would search the city dumps and the open fields for abandoned babies and rescue them. Right from the very beginning, Christians were staunchly pro-life. Now, I wish I could end off this video on a positive, happy note. I wish I could say that Western culture will pull back from the abyss, but I have my doubts. Remember, infanticide has been the norm throughout most of human history, not the exception. And I would say that the main reason why you right now think of it as morally evil is because of Christianity, which our culture is now gleefully casting aside and embracing paganism instead. As always, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you next Thursday.